I'm Roger Thurrow, and for 30 years I was a reporter with the Wall Street Journal, 20 of those years as a foreign correspondent, based mainly in Europe and Africa, and doing typically what foreign correspondents or journalists normally do, moving from story to story, from country to country. And it was maybe 10 years ago that I really started writing about hunger and famine and food security issues. And even though I had been based in South Africa, in Africa and South Africa, doing a lot of reporting in Africa, I'm ashamed to say that I hadn't really done much on the hunger issue up until that time. Hunger was kind of a background noise and you know, kind of the background scenery to Africa. And appallingly, I hadn't really focused on that before. But then came the famine of Ethiopia in 2003. And on my first day in Ethiopia, I was meeting with the World Food Program to get a background of what I was going to be seeing. And Voli Karuchi, one of the World Food Program workers at the time, he gave me a piece of advice or a warning of sorts. And he said, Roger, looking into the eyes of someone dying of hunger becomes a disease of the soul. And I'm like, disease of the soul? What's he talking about, a disease of the soul? Because we have all sorts of medical information, obviously, that you get before going to Africa. Get your yellow fever shot, take your malaria pills, watch out for the cholera areas, mind the meningitis season. But he's warning me about a disease of the soul. What could that be? And he was absolutely right. And so the next day and the next following days, when we were in the hunger zones and looking at people dying of into the eyes of people dying of hunger, that it did change me as a journalist. I started asking questions more urgently of why this was happening and how this was happening in the 21st century. Suddenly, all other stories began paling in comparison for me as a journalist. This is the story that I wanted to focus on and to concentrate on and to stop. So traveling from story to story, I figured this is the one that I needed to zero in on. So continued to write a number of stories on that, and then decided that my soul, my diseased soul, wouldn't rest until I wrote a book and put everything together that I knew with the book. So I collaborated with Wall Street Journal colleague Scott Kilman on that. And the funny thing is that once the book comes out, I determined that my soul was more restless than ever. I needed to spend all my time and my energy as a journalist focusing on this issue, writing about hunger and famine and food security, raising the clamor, raising the awareness of this problem. So after 30 years, I left the Wall Street Journal, joined the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, and basically have devoted my time to this one single story, which I think is the overriding issue of our time.